That's the caterpillar's life. Just eating leaves, and eating leaves. Swiggling around, eating more leaves. You know what I'm saying? That's the life of a caterpillar. Suddenly one day, something awakens within them and says, go to that branch over there and twerk a little bit. That's how I'm going to say that caterpillars start making their chrysalis. Yes, I'm going to say that something says twerk a little bit. So listen to the inner unctions that say twerk a little bit. Okay, moving right along. Hello, Earth Signs Princess India here, and strangest thing happened. So I recorded you guys reading, right? And it recorded just fine, but there was no sound. Now, the irony of this is I do the reading, I, finish it, go straight and record all of the extendeds. I even did like an additional video that I added at the beginning of all of you guys' extendeds, because when we threw the dice, it was a lot of like really dope, good information that came out, right? And similar to what I do in the pathology readings, it's like I gave you guys a whole spiritual toolkit pretty much for the month of July of the extendeds, right? All of those, including the little extra video, all of that recorded just fine. Like no sound problems, but the main video is just like, it's just me running my mouth with nothing coming out. So I don't know why that was. I have no idea. I'm not really so much concerned with the extendeds because the cards that came out for you guys, let me see if I can pull them out. That was so odd. The cards that came out for you guys, it was the insecurity card, it was the destiny card, and release, right? But I always go by what unctions I'm getting. And when I was thinking, because my thought was like, okay, well, I'll just scratch the extendeds, and just do them over, with the main reading. But the thing is, I feel like it would be a disservice. So I'm just going to keep those extendeds. And if anything extra comes up, we'll see. But I don't know. That was so strange to me. But I'm just going to go with it. I guess a different message. It feels to me like a different message is supposed to come out for the general, because I was so happy with how those extendeds came out. Like it's almost like it's very straight to the point, very practical, useful. Like you hear this and you can just put it into application today type of deal. But we'll see what comes out for you guys in this general. That's so odd. But we're going to go with it. So Spirit, please give me clear and direct guidance for Earth signs again. What do they really need to know this time? They did not hear my voice for the last time. Man, I'm just glad I caught that before I put that up on YouTube. Because y'all probably been looking at me like, really? Clear and direct guidance for Earth signs, please, Spirit. Anything they need to know, anything about most importance, I ask that come to the forefront in this reading, please, Spirit. I know you lying. Wow. So 3 cards, I know you can't see them because of the light, but 3 cards flipped out again. Okay. That's what's hot in the streets right now. So we have perception, we have complacency, and we have grief. That's very interesting. This is giving me, I would say that this is interesting. This is like the same energy. The only thing that shifted is that in the first reading, where perception is, we had insecurity, which is a root chakra card, where complacency and grief are. We had destiny and we had release. But frequency wise, even though these are focusing on different chakras, we had 2 crown chakra and 1 root. Now we have 1 root and 2 heart chakras. But these are the same frequency to me. Meaning that with the perception card, what we're talking about is releasing things, dead things in our life. And that was the whole theme for you guys reading, is releasing things in people that no longer serve you, right? So it's the equivalent of, it makes me think of Norman Bates in the movie Psycho, not, matricide, but the fact of him holding on to his dead mother's corpse. It's like, no disrespect to his mom, even though she's a fictional character. It's just the thought of holding on to things that are the equivalent of corpses. These things are no longer serving you, right? It's the equivalent of a child, right, who outgrows their clothing, right? And parents out there, y'all know what's up with that. The money that we spend the first couple of years of life and what's not. But it's like holding on to the shoes and the clothing that your child is outgrown and you don't have any more kids. So there is no hand-me-downs, right? You're just literally holding on to something that literally does not serve a purpose. You can't use it. The kid can't use it. It's literally just there taking up space, right? Those are the things that we're looking at. It's releasing those things that are no longer serving you, but it's also saying, and me kind of mirroring to this, to where that the insecurity card fell, right? The reason why we're holding on to these things is out of fear. It's the fear of the unknown. It's the fear of the next step. It's sticking with the devil that you know, right? But all it requires is a change of perception, in the sense of not seeing the unknown as something negative. It's awakening to a new truth, or not just awakening to a new truth, but the truth. If you're holding on to a proverbial dead body, it's the why. And the energy for you guys, the practical application you guys are putting in the month of July, it's stepping outside of, in 7 of Cups, idealism. It's killing that false thought that somehow things in this realm materialize via magic, right? And another thing that stuck out very strongly to me, because with the video I put up yesterday, I read everyone's comments. I didn't have a chance to respond, but I read every single last one, and I screenshotted a bunch of them, because a lot of them that I was reading, I was getting instant intuitive hits, like spirit giving y'all messages, right? And I wanted to address those, the ones that stuck out to me the absolute most. And it's one I'm thinking about now, where it was a gentleman who was saying something along the lines of, God, and believe it or not, this gentleman actually finished, like, it's an intuitive hit I got from spirit, like half of a download I got a couple of days ago. And his question actually finished it for me, in the sense that it's relinquishing these conditioned ideals, the thought that God is a human parent, right? Many of us have, and of course, a lot of it is because of the perception that we have of God is that of father, right? That of a father. If you take a person or people and a perception that you have of fathers in general, or your actual father, or it being a masculine figure, however we perceive the male form, we have a tendency to project that on to God, and that isn't so, because God is not a man, God does not have a penis. Just saying, okay? God is God, genderless, right? All that is simply is, and is not at the same time, okay? But I'm saying all of that to say that what he was speaking about was along the lines of like, you know, feeling as if, you know, God doing things to us. And that was the part of what I was hearing of the perception many of us have of feeling as if God is doing something to us, as if this is a point system. And it's not. It's not a point system of, you know, you do X, Y, Z, and I'm going to give you X, Y, Z. You know what I mean? You don't do X, Y, Z. Now I'm not going to give you X, Y, Z. You know? That's the ninny baby personification of God. And that's not what God is about. So it's not really like a game of cat and mouse that you're playing. Or even in the fact of like everything in your life is held up contingent upon you getting to a perfectionized state of healing. That's not what this is about either, right? And that's why I love the way that you guys' reading came out, because it's my stilo. It's taking these very high level esoteric concepts. It's talking about the concept of healing, growth, and change, and it's putting it in very tangible action steps. And it's something as simple as what I stressed in the other video, that of which is choice. With this perception card, what we're talking about is holding on to things that no longer serve us out of fear, out of a lack mentality, out of a lack of trust for spirit, right? In the sense of not saying that it's like it's this give and take point system, but just in the fact that spirit is at your beckoning call at any moment. Your spiritual team, your guides, your angels, however you perceive the energy, they're at your beckoning call at any moment, but it's utilizing them. But it's a fear to trust fully in something or someone that I don't know. I don't know you. How can I trust that you have my best interest at heart, especially based on what I've heard about you? You feel what I'm saying? It's that kind of energy that I'm feeling. But the key is what's required of you guys is a great deal of courage and a little bit of sacrifice. It's trusting the process of walking from the known into the unknown and having hope, faith, and trust that this is going to work out for your highest good. Now, what I can say to make that a tad bit easier, and my attention is being brought to the butterfly on this card, and we can use that as a beautiful illustration. Caterpillars, prior to them becoming butterflies or even going through the whole metamorphosis process, all they do is consume, 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 consume all day. That's the caterpillar's life, just eating leaves, and eating leaves. Swiggling around, eating more leaves. You know what I'm saying? That's the life of a caterpillar. Suddenly one day, something awakens within them and says, go to that branch over there and twerk a little bit. That's how I'm going to say that caterpillars start making their chrysalis. Yes, I'm going to say that something says twerk a little bit. So listen to the inner unctions that say twerk a little bit. Okay, moving right along. So something says twerk a little bit, caterpillar. And they're like, you know what? I think I will. So the caterpillar puts on a little big Frida, you know, and starts twerking a little. And suddenly they're encased in this cocoon, this silk that's covering them, right? And what seemed like a really dope idea at first now has me fully encased in darkness. God damn it, son of a gun. How did this happen? One minute I was consuming on a massive scale, mindlessly thinking, being driven by my desires. Suddenly I awaken and something tells me to do something that's outside of the realm of what I typically do. I think it's going to lead to something good, and now I am encased in darkness. What's happening here, right? It's very uncomfortable. It's tight. No one knows what to expect, right? And suddenly one day another unction comes and tells the caterpillar to wiggle. Twerk again, you know? He's like, nope, because the last time I twerked, I ended up in darkness. And something inside of them says, no, little caterpillar, twerk again. And it may take them a good little minute, but eventually they realize, well, anything could be better than this. So the little caterpillar twerks, you know what I'm saying? And suddenly they start feeling something in their back. You know what I'm saying? They didn't throw their back out. It's like suddenly wind hits them and they feel something flapping You know what I'm saying? And suddenly they break out of the chrysalis and they're completely transformed. Out of the darkest times in our life. Many times, those darkest times being started by something that seemed to be a really great idea. How we translate this into relationships is that wonderful person that you met that was so perfect when you first met them, and that, you know, magnetism, the chemistry, you know, you being led into this. And suddenly everything went to shit, you know, because you thought it was a good idea to twerk. Okay, we're not going to say that your relationship started because you was twerking. Okay, it wasn't. Maybe it was. I don't know. But anyway, so those things in our life that in the beginning, they seemed like a really dope idea. And we were following our inner unctions. We were following our inner guide. And it led us into probably the most darkest times in our life. And inadvertently created a distrust for the self. Right? The change in perception that I feel that earth signs need to have, not only in their, well, I would say in their love life, but not just your romantic love life. We say love life, we mean love of self, right? Relationships, friendships, what have you, and your romantic partners, right? The realization that needs to be had this month and will be had is the fact that you're a butterfly, but it's your perception that still says that you're caterpillar, and you're not, right? It's rediscovering the why you guys went through so many of the dark times that you did. It's perceiving those experiences in a negative light because it's being fixated on the time that you were in the chrysalis, when you were in the darkness, and thinking about something that you felt spirit was leading you to do, got you ending up in darkness, the worst time of your life. And I was just following my heart. I was just doing what was right. Because mind you, when I was a caterpillar, I was just consuming, right? But the epiphany you guys are going to have this month in your love life and lives in general, as well as with the relationship of yourself, is awakening to the truth of how useful those dark times were, and to not allow your inner unctions or your heart guiding you into these situations to be something that you distrust. Because looking back at your past with new eyes, you start to see that those dark times are literally the best possible thing that could have ever happened to you. And that sounds so asinine to say, I know, right? But we come to a place in our healing process, and that's something I think creeps out everyone when I say that myself, is the fact that I look back on every single tragedy, every trauma I've experienced as far back as my childhood, and I am thankful for every single one. Because granted, they left scars, they caused damage, they created patterns in my mind, but it was in overcoming them that I found my greatest strength, that I became a person I never thought I could possibly be, that I could stand on a truth that I never possibly thought that I could have the courage to stand on. And that was in the battle with myself, with my own shadow, facing my shadow, all of the things that I wanted to tuck down and not let people know about me, the things that brought me shame, disdain, hatred, right? Facing these things and finding out the truth that the shadow possesses. You know what I'm saying? That's what transforms our life. It's looking at the same life from a different perspective. And that goes back to the reading that I did yesterday. And the key is not to look out there anymore. It's simply to just turn around. Because every single thing that you need, you possess already. For your entire life, you've been living out the same narrative, the same story, over and over again. Many of the people you've encountered, you've met, the relationships you've been in, on an essence level, many of these people are the same. But much like I said in the other reading, it's your higher self trying to get you to see something. What is the theme? What is the consistency? But it's telling you to be strong. And I really believe that's when I was saying yesterday about the daddy influence, that's that Saturn retrograde that's going on right now. That's what that is, you know, because the Saturn retrograde is all about that. It's all about using practical, tangible action steps to solve what seemed once like mountains and making them molehills, right? Because the two other cards that we have with complacency and grief, this is the energy I feel you guys are sitting in. It's the grieving of days gone by, what could have been. Why did this happen to me? You know, that wasn't fair. How could someone do those things to me? You know what I mean? But this whole transformation you guys are going through this month, like I said, it's looking at the same life, but from a new perspective. And in every place that you thought was your disdain, your downfall, your weakness, the manifestation that God hates you, that you're not good enough, that you're unlovable, right? That you'll never be happy. No one's ever going to love me. No one's ever going to accept me, right? It's going to be looking at all of those experiences again and seeing the gems hidden in each and every one of them, right? And becoming massively wealthy, proverbially speaking. I'm not saying that y'all not going to be wealthy, because you might. But becoming massively wealthy with wisdom, and kind of want to kick yourself a little bit, but laughing about it, at just how much wisdom was stockpiled in all of your experiences. But it was seeing yourself from a lower perspective that prevented you from ever seeing the worth and value in all of these. And like I say, I've been there. I totally understand how difficult that is. But what you guys are going through this month is a heart opening. It's like self-forgiveness, releasing the inner critic, facing the shadow, right? This is true, authentic self-work. This is how butterflies are made. This is how transformation happens, right? I feel by the end of all of this, and I said this in the other reading too, you guys are stepping into the opportunity to where you will look back at your life and not recognize it. It's waking up in a new life. And it's not because things have changed, but because you have. Those little dead Norman Bates mom bodies in your life, those are going to become clear to identify. People who are in your highest good will become easier to identify, right? Things that are no longer serving the end goal, the mission, the vision, the soul's desire, things that are not in alignment with you, things that are low vibrational, the things that have been blocks, things that have been holding you back, all of those things are going to start to become very, very clear. And it's not going to be the need for you to necessarily stand and say, you are no longer good for me. You are low vibrational. All right. It's just going to be a comfortable surrender and release, an unspoken understanding. And there will be people who try to challenge you on that. Right? But I feel that you're more than qualified to do that. The moment that these wounds and this darkness within is healed, the moment that we forgive ourselves for allowing other people to mistreat us, the moment that we stop waiting for other people to validate how great we are, and you make the decision instead to stand in your greatness, not needing anyone else's validation to tell you who and what you are, to tell you that you're good enough or lovable. All of that done from the self-work and the things that we're facing. When we release those should, ought, supposed tos, those could have beens, you know, any of those self-loathing, false core beliefs, when we release that weight, we bury that body, right? That's when the awakening happens. And I think then the promise, the excitement that you guys have been craving, it's going to have you wondering, why didn't I do this sooner? You know what I'm saying? Why didn't I do this sooner, my earth sign friend? So we're going to throw the dice of resonance. If you want to ask a yes or no question, you can totally do that now, my friend. We have Cancer. We have Crush. Ooh. We have Yes in a few weeks. And we have Libra, your Venus friend. And then we have question mark. So that could be sun, moon, or rising. So Libra, Cancer, crush, and yes, in a few. Oh, did I lie to y'all? I did. Yes, in a few months, not weeks. Sorry. My bad. Not my fault. Okay, so let's throw the dice again. Do. I'm really going to put that poll up today. And fire signs, y'all are next. Goodness. What is that? I don't know what that is. We got the number 3. And we have Virgo. Interesting. Virgo came up last time for y'all. Okay, the number 3. Oh, wait, no. I want to start with y'all's planet. What planet is that? Oh, my God. It's Saturn. Synchronicities abound. Okay, sorry. Saturn. Saturn calls attention to the importance of your life. This is so funny. The importance of your life and experience on this physical plane. Calls your attention to the concentrated experience and learning which can only be awarded to the soul via a physical experience. It is in, oh, this is so interesting. It is in the perceived absence of who I am that we learn who we are not. The soul only knows itself conceptually. I'm sorry with my interjections. I'm going to read that again. Saturn calls attention to the importance of your life and experiences on this physical plane. It calls your attention to the concentrated experience and learning which can only be awarded to the soul via a physical experience. It is in the perceived absence of who I am that we learn who we are not. The soul only knows itself conceptually. That's deep, and that's so real. Wow. That's a whole school of thought, right? Of like Earth school. In the ethereal realm, we only know ourselves conceptually, right? Because when we are, like the Bible says that, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord, so to speak, right? So devoid of this body, we are all knowing, all seeing, all being without the flesh, right? There are no questions, right? It's only answers. But the soul only knows itself in the sense of a concept, meaning knowledge, a state of knowingness. In order to truly understand something, right? It's one thing to know something, to have knowledge in my brain, right? But until I experience, like experience is the bridge between knowledge and understanding, right? So when I cross this bridge of experience, that's your lifespan in flesh. Because in the ethereal realm, there is, right? There is no you, there is no me, there just is. There is no dyad in the spiritual realm. The spiritual realm just simply is. There is no other, right? But we come to this space because one cannot know oneself. Like I can't know me without you because I'm not you and you're not me. But it would be impossible for me to know me lest you, the perceived absence of me, now I can experience me in the perceived absence of myself, right? So it's like a game of hide and seek that we all play. But we're all in cahoots because that's how we truly know ourselves. Now that's hella esoteric. There's many of you that understand that, you know? But I think that's interesting that came up. I don't think that's ever come up for anyone before. It's very interesting. But anywho, our creation number 3, you guys' archetype would be the Empress. Oh, and I also want to tell you, I'm going to put that in the description box. 6 came up last time, which was the Lovers, right? And the lesson of the Lovers is really talking about shadow work. We talk about choice, making a head or heart decision. There's a third choice. There's a third choice that can be made aside from choosing between the head and the heart. It's a third way. That's what the Lovers is about, right? That's why the angel is there. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I wanted to tell you guys that if you haven't already, regardless of what your path number is, I would suggest watching The Wounded Healer and the Goddess reading, because I just feel like there's going to be something there for you guys. But anywho, so with the Empress, it says, your spirituality gives you strength, expansion, the creator, creative, oh, that's small. My eyes are bad, y'all. Creative inspiration, nurture the life of your dreams, transformation and allow, the creator, the creator, perseverance, and change agent. Birth these things into life. So beautiful. I like this. I'm going to read you guys the Lovers too, because that's what came out last time. It says balance and harmony. What's no longer serving your highest good? That's exactly, oh, yeah, that's exactly what came out last time. And that's what this is about. What's no longer serving your highest good? Right? So it was the Lovers, and the other thing that came out was the North Node, and I'll read you guys that too. The North Node says, you're learning something new about your destiny, where you're going, what you're developing, that you will carry forward, your legacy. What I feel for many of you, just like how butterflies are, it's the last thing I'm going to say, because I feel like I'm talking y'all's face off. We're at 31 minutes. But the DNA for a butterfly, the DNA structure is different than that of a caterpillar. But within the caterpillar is the DNA code for the butterfly, right? That's what I feel you guys are going through. The butterfly you guys are about to become, the DNA code for that has always existed inside of you, right? And now it's just this dark night of the soul that you guys have been in, that you're coming out of, right? That's going to restore you anew. And that's what we talk about in the extended with the North Node, because the North Node that came out was in Virgo. And whenever, you know, a sign and a North Node come out, because I've been studying North Nodes for a few months now, I've noticed that I use them as oracles pretty much. So the North Node in Virgo, it talks about a lot of the themes that you guys are dealing with this month. And I go into that in extent in the extended. But in essence, it's all about that practical approach, right? But that's all I got for you, my friends. I got to knock out these fire signs before, you know, they do fire sign stuff. But I hope this was helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you're following me to Vimeo, the link is below. If not, I still love your freaking face. And I will see you guys soon and later.